Ukraine waited for Russian tank convoys to break through. Then this happened.
December 22, 2025, 8:15 a.m., 5 kilometers from Pokrovsk, Donetsk Oblast, a massive Russian mechanized assault begins, 24 armored vehicles rolling forward in formation, 6 main battle tanks, 9 infantry fighting vehicles, 5 armored personnel carriers, plus dozens of motorcycles and quad bikes. 4 separate assault columns moving fast across multiple axes. Behind them, personnel from Russia's 40th and 155th Naval Infantry Brigades, battle-hardened soldiers. Their mission: smash through Ukrainian defenses, take Pokrovsk, break the front wide open. Russian commanders expect speed and mass to overwhelm defenders. Hit hard, break through, exploit the gap. Classic mechanized doctrine: armor leads, infantry follows, artillery supports from behind. The assumption is simple: enough force applied fast enough will crack any defensive line. But what Russian command doesn't know is that Ukrainian defenders are already watching, already locked on target, already coordinating fires. What happens next will last exactly 100 minutes. And when it's over, the Russian assault will be completely destroyed. Why does this massive assault matter so much? Because by December 2025, Pokrovsk has become the most critical battle in the entire war. Russian forces have been hammering this sector for months. They've captured Vuhledar in October, Kurikov in late December. They're closing in on Pokrovsk from 3 directions: east, south, and southwest. If Pokrovsk falls, the entire Ukrainian defense across Donetsk Oblast collapses, supply lines cut, artillery positions exposed, everything breaks. Pokrovsk is more than just another town. It's the logistics hub for Ukrainian forces across eastern Donetsk. Roads and rail lines converge here. Lose it and Ukrainian forces lose the ability to sustain operations across hundreds of square kilometers. Russian forces know this. That's why they're throwing everything at it. Here's the bigger pattern. Throughout late 2025, Russian mechanized assaults have been getting destroyed at catastrophic rates. Over 3,000 Russian tanks destroyed in 2025 alone, more than 100 tank battalions wiped out. In November alone, Russia lost 307 tanks, nearly 10 tank battalions, $450 million in equipment, gone in 1 month. The question military analysts keep asking: why does Russia keep using these massive mechanized assaults when they keep failing? The answer is brutal: because they have to. Russia needs breakthrough operations. Small-scale infantry attacks can't achieve the rapid territorial gains Moscow demands. They can't punch through fortified defenses. They can't exploit openings fast enough. So they keep sending armor columns forward, and Ukrainian forces keep destroying them. This December 22 assault is different in scale. 24 armored vehicles in 4 columns. This isn't a reconnaissance probe. This isn't a small raid. This is a full battalion-level mechanized assault. The kind of operation supposed to punch through defenses and exploit the breakthrough deep into enemy territory. If Ukraine can stop this, they prove something critical: modern mechanized warfare doesn't work the way it used to. To succeed, the Ukrainian defense had to be perfect. Ukrainian forces had been tracking Russian movements on the Pokrovsk axis for weeks. By December, patterns were clear. Russian columns used the same approaches, same roads, same assembly areas, predictable, fatal. The defensive position near Ryazan village was chosen with precision. Approaches funnel through narrow corridors, limited maneuver room. Classic kill zone. Ukrainian forces positioned artillery within range. Drone teams set up observation. FPV operators prepped strike drones. Anti-tank units moved into concealment. Everything coordinated. This is the transparent battlefield. Ukrainian drones patrol constantly. Commercial quadcopters, military reconnaissance UAVs. When Russian forces assemble, Ukrainian command knows within minutes. Drones relay coordinates, artillery plots fire missions. By the time columns start moving, the entire defensive system is activated. Ukrainian forces studied how Russian mechanized assaults work. Lead vehicles set pace. Command platforms control coordination. Support vehicles carry infantry who will dismount. Each vehicle type has a specific role. Take out the right vehicles at the right moment and the formation collapses. Minefields were precisely positioned where drones predicted vehicles would channel, not scattered randomly, carefully placed based on terrain analysis. The terrain becomes a weapon. Narrow roads force tight formations. Tree lines provide cover for defenders while exposing attackers. Every element exploits Russian doctrine. The coordination is what makes defenses lethal. Artillery doesn't fire randomly. They wait for drone teams to mark positions. FPV drones don't waste batteries. They loiter near predicted routes. Anti-tank crews stay hidden until the perfect moment. This integration between drones, artillery, and ground forces is unprecedented. Russian forces had learned too. They weren't sending convoys down open highways. Combined arms, infantry on motorcycles and quad bikes scouting ahead, armored vehicles providing fire support. The 24-vehicle assault represented Russia's attempt to overwhelm defenses with pure mass. 4 columns attacking simultaneously. Theory: Ukrainian forces can't respond to everything at once. Ukrainian commanders knew this assault was coming. Drone reconnaissance spotted the assembly. They watched vehicles move into staging areas. The question wasn't if, it was when. The answer would come in 100 minutes. At 8:15 a.m., the Russian assault launched. 4 columns, 24 armored vehicles spread across multiple axes. The plan: hit fast, overwhelm Ukrainian positions before they can coordinate a response. Speed equals survival. Momentum equals victory. That's what Russian commanders believed. The columns rolled forward, tanks in front providing heavy firepower, IFVs behind them, APCs carrying infantry. Motorcycles and quad bikes racing ahead to scout and probe defenses. It looked powerful, coordinated, unstoppable. But Ukrainian drones were overhead, tracking every vehicle, every movement. Operators marked targets in real time. Artillery received coordinates continuously. The Russian columns weren't surprising anyone. They were driving into a pre-planned kill zone. First vehicles hit minefields. Explosions ripped through lead tanks. Not enough to stop the assault, but enough to slow it. Following vehicles bunched up, spacing collapsed. Drivers tried maneuvering around damaged platforms. The neat formation fragmented, exactly what Ukrainian forces wanted. Then artillery opened up, not random fire. Precision strikes guided by drones. Shells landed among stalled columns. Direct hits on APCs. Near misses showering vehicles with shrapnel. The Russian advance stuttered. Russian infantry dismounted. Soldiers jumped from burning APCs. Some took cover behind vehicles. Others ran for tree lines, but they were exposed. Ukrainian FPV drones descended, modified quadcopters dropping munitions. They hunted soldiers, struck stopped vehicles. The battlefield turned chaotic. Russian command pushed fresh vehicles forward, 11 quad bikes in the final wave. Fast, maneuverable, meant to exploit any gap, but Ukrainian drone operators were waiting. They'd preserved battery power for this moment. 10 of 11 destroyed within minutes. The 11th retreated. The assault columns lost cohesion. Some vehicles advanced, others reversed, some sat motionless. Communication broke down. 4 coordinated columns became scattered groups, each fighting alone. This is where Russian doctrine failed. The plan assumed speed would carry them through contact. That momentum would overwhelm defenders, but modern surveillance removed surprise. Precision fires removed the advantage of mass. Once columns stopped moving, they became targets. Ukrainian artillery shifted fire to the rear, cutting retreat routes, destroying support vehicles. The assault force wasn't just stopped, it was trapped. Forward meant mines and direct fire. Backward meant artillery. Staying meant death by drones and bombardment. Russian commanders had assumed 24 vehicles would be too much to handle simultaneously, but Ukrainian defenses controlled the entire engagement from the start. Drones gave total awareness. Prepositioned artillery enabled instant strikes anywhere. Minefields channeled movement exactly where Ukrainian forces wanted. 90 minutes in, Russian forces were desperate. Vehicles tried extracting damaged platforms. Recovery operations failed under fire. Crews abandoned vehicles and ran. Some made tree lines, many didn't. Every attempt to advance met overwhelming fire. Every retreat exposed vehicles to artillery. Staying meant slow destruction. This wasn't a battle, it was an execution. The breakthrough came from layered defenses. Not one weapon system. Integration, multiple systems working together, each covering weaknesses in the others. Tube artillery and rocket systems hammered continuously. Ukrainian crews had pre-plotted fire missions based on drone intelligence. They knew where vehicles would cluster at obstacles, where retreating vehicles would regroup. Artillery followed Russian movements predictably because Ukrainian forces controlled what those movements would be. FPV strike drones operated where artillery couldn't reach effectively. Small targets, moving infantry, individual vehicles trying to maneuver. Operators worked methodically. Each drone targeted high-value platforms, command vehicles, infantry carriers, recovery platforms. The drones prevented Russian forces from organizing any coordinated response. Mines dropped from larger UAVs added another layer. Ukrainian forces scattered anti-tank mines in paths vehicles tried to use for retreat. Not everywhere, just specific lanes where drones showed withdrawal attempts. A dynamic minefield adapting to Russian movements in real time. The coordination timing was perfect. Artillery suppressed an area, Drones identified which vehicles survived and repositioned. More artillery struck new positions. FPV drones finished damaged vehicles. Mines blocked escapes. Russian forces couldn't adapt because they couldn't predict what came next. Ukrainian ground forces stayed defensive. No counterattack, just steady, controlled fires. Let drones and artillery do the killing. Ground forces provide security and mark targets. The days of infantry rushing forward are over when drones can spot any movement. Russian electronic warfare tried jamming Ukrainian drones. Some succeeded. Ukrainian operators expected this. They'd brought multiple drone types, different frequencies, different control systems. When one got jammed, operators switched. The system had redundancy. What Russian forces faced was decision paralysis. Stay in damaged vehicles and risk artillery or drones. Bail out and risk being caught in the open. Try to retreat and hit mines. Try to advance and face direct fire. Every option led to casualties. 100 minutes after the assault began, it was over. 6 Russian tanks destroyed, 9 IFVs knocked out, 5 APCs disabled, 1 recovery vehicle eliminated, 10 of 11 quad bikes destroyed, plus dozens of motorcycles. The entire force was gone, not retreating, destroyed, scattered, broken. The aftermath reveals everything about modern mechanized warfare. Commander Robert Madyar Brovdy reported the engagement lasted 100 minutes. 24 Russian vehicles committed, 21 destroyed or damaged, 3 escaped. The assault force from Russia's 40th and 155th Naval Infantry Brigades was annihilated, complete operational failure. Ukrainian forces achieved this with minimal losses. No breakthrough, no penetration. What Russian commanders expected to crack Ukrainian defenses turned into one-sided slaughter. The implications go beyond one engagement. Throughout December 2025, Russian forces have been suffering catastrophic armored losses. They're running out of operational tanks. Soviet stockpiles are depleting. By some estimates, reserves will be exhausted by 2026. Every failed assault like December 22 accelerates this timeline. Russian tactics are adapting from necessity. Recent reports show forces increasingly using motorcycles, electric scooters, and ATVs instead of armored vehicles, not because they're more effective, because they're running out of tanks. The switch means faster movement but zero protection, a sign of desperation, not innovation. The question facing Russian commanders: can they achieve objectives without mechanized warfare? Infantry assaults are slower, take more casualties, can't exploit breakthroughs rapidly, but armored assaults keep getting destroyed. Russian forces are trapped between two bad options. For Ukraine, December 22 validates their defensive evolution. They've built a system that doesn't rely on matching Russian numbers. Drones provide transparency, artillery provides firepower, mines provide obstacles. Coordination multiplies effectiveness. Small Ukrainian units defeat much larger Russian formations by controlling the battle space rather than contesting it directly. This matters for NATO planners. The transparent battlefield is real. Commercial drones make concealment nearly impossible. Precision fires make massed formations suicidal. Electronic warfare can disrupt but not eliminate drone networks. Lessons from Pokrovsk will reshape how Western militaries think about armored warfare. December 22 was Russia's attempt to force a decision through mass and speed. Everything Russian doctrine says should work. It failed completely because Ukrainian forces had evolved beyond reactive defense into predictive destruction. They didn't wait to see where Russians would attack. They shaped where Russians could attack, then destroyed them there. This engagement shows the era of large-scale mechanized breakthrough operations may be over. Not because tanks are obsolete, but because modern surveillance and precision fires have made concentrated armored formations impossibly vulnerable. The side that can see everything and strike anywhere wins. Russian forces learned this December 22, 24 vehicles destroyed in 100 minutes. The assault never had a chance, not because Ukrainian forces were stronger, but because they controlled the battle space so completely that Russian strength became irrelevant. So here's the question. If you were planning the next Russian assault, knowing what happened December 22, what would you change? How do you overcome defenses that see everything, strike everywhere, and coordinate instantly? Share your thoughts. For more analysis of modern warfare, the tactics that work and those that fail, hit like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Because lessons from Ukraine aren't about one war. They're about how all future wars will be fought. The fields near Pokrovsk are quiet now, burned vehicles documented, wreckage cataloged, but tactical lessons will echo for years. Modern warfare rewards transparency, coordination, and precision. It punishes concentration, predictability, and mass. Ukrainian defenders proved that December 22. They waited, they watched, they coordinated. And when 24 Russian vehicles rolled forward expecting to overwhelm with speed and mass, Ukrainian forces destroyed the entire assault in 100 minutes. The transparent battlefield isn't coming. It's here, and traditional mechanized warfare is struggling to survive in it.